So I'm Eric McSwain. I'm your host, Missouri Cannabis Industry Association. I'm the chairman here. Got with us April Hatch, Cannabis Care Team. Max is the guru of Trichome. He knows it all. And I've got a little man crush, but that's fine. And you've been doing it for a while. I've been following your work for a while. But I think maybe let's fast forward and let's first talk about the Trichome Institute, right?
People who do take the bud tender job should be trained and certified. To us, it's crazy that in the state of Colorado, California, basically everywhere else in the U.S., that you have to be trained, licensed, and certified to paint fingernails or to cut hair. But when you're a bud tender and you're working with medical patients specifically, there's really not a whole big difference between that job and being a pharmacist. You're going to create repeat customers because these people trust you because it's apparent that you know what you're talking about. That's a big deal in this industry right now. Not only does that increase revenue, but it also really decreases risk. And then, of course, my favorite course is interpening. That's my baby. And interpening, comes with a textbook, comes with tools. It's a multi-leveled course, and that's our version of the cannabis sommelier. And so this is the course where, at a very high level, you get to learn how and why these plant types are not indica or sativa.
Oh.
What are they?
Oh, I want to talk more about that.
What is the spectrum of the broad to narrow leaf types? And differentiating your hemp types from your marijuana types. And a lot of people don't know that the hemp varietals also have broad leaf and narrow leaf types. And so this is getting into the question as to what is cannabis? And then what is it really? So how do you overcome the strain name dilemma? Interpening. How do you overcome the fact that lab testing is extremely lacking? Your lab testing won't tell you what the potency of your cannabis is because THC is not an equation of potency. Your lab test won't tell you if your drug is a stimulant or a sedative. Interpening will.
Themselves, there it is.
There it is.
The weed
wheel.
Tell me about it.
So we don't call it a sativa because it's not. What it is a narrow leaf marijuana type. That's what it is, okay? And so narrow leaf marijuana types have a particular type of inflorescence. How the flower structure is composed is organized, and you can learn that organization. What smells are typical and common for that plant type to smell like is also organized. More interestingly, though, is where you feel and perceive the aroma in different parts of the trigeminal nerve is actually gauging where on the spectrum of psychopharmacy those terpenes should end up. And that's really what the online interpening course is it's a 4-hour course on really what is cannabis, how do we go about it from a sommelier process. And so anybody can take the interpening course online at home, in your pajamas, smoke a bowl while you're doing it. All of this just stuff that you never see in cannabis magazines, you never get from a cannabis education company. It's just off the cuff, real raw myth busting on cannabis. And so that's what Spliff Busters is. It's on YouTube, it's free. There currently isn't a standard in the cannabis industry today as to what is good weed, says who. How do you know? Like what is the ruler for that? What's the standard operating procedure for what good cannabis is? So we're developing an application where you'll be able to literally shop for a very specific effect. But what nobody's seen before is an extremely rare type of trichome that only pops up every once in a while. And you would never find it unless you were literally combing through thousands of types of cannabis microscopically as we do.
This is like amateur astronomy. Like I just found a new star, dude.
It is a capitate trichome. It is glandular. I can't describe it, although I can tell you it is so different from the other glandular trichome types that are out there. So I believe I want to name it capitate stalked Nessia. And Nessia is a word in Hebrew that is basically like, it means 7 in the sense of miracle. So it's a miracle that there are 7 colors to the rainbow, 7 days of the week. We wrap tefillin around our arms 7 times. So 7 is a really big mystical number in Judaism. I'm a Jew. And so this is the 7th trichome. And to me, it's a miracle that no one else has found this besides us. Like, this is the most well-studied plant on the planet, and other people haven't found this trichome yet. That's a miracle. Getting this plant to me and how it's gotten to me are so many miracles you can't even imagine.
You know, MCIA, that's our core mission, is education. And that's why we're bringing it tonight. This is an MCIA show, but we want to tell you all about those opportunities. We had Max on in the first half. We have a certified caregiver program. A lot of the knowledge that you cover in the boot camp is also on the tests, I'm sure, for our certified caregiver program. So that's another way. Think of it as like a professional certification, and that's similar to what you're doing here, except it's live, so that you get a lot of instructor interaction, right? I mean, what's the setup? Is it a one-day deal? Or?
So it is a one-day deal. I love live. I love, and no one needs to worry about this too much, but I kind of do love putting people on the spot a little bit. I think that practice is really, really important.
The cannabis care team, they bring in just so much scientific knowledge that just a lot of people are not accustomed to or just don't know yet. But part of what we wanted to bring to it, when we were doing our first initial hiring, we had a lot of applicants, but a lot of people just didn't understand the generalities and some of the professional aspects that come with this industry. Like you mentioned, the customer service, being able to talk to the 18-year-old that comes in or the 80-year-old that comes in. You have to be able to customize your service and your knowledge and the way you explain things to meet that patient's needs.
I think when we were training maybe the Moberly staff, Brooke had said something to me about hiring people, and I remember what she said because I loved it so much, but they were really looking to hire people who could connect with people. And I thought that was so important, because as a nurse, I feel like that's the biggest part of my role. I can do a bunch of medical stuff and I know a bunch of medications, but that ability to connect means the most to people I talk to. And I was just so happy to see that.
What was the experience when the cannabis care team came in to train your folks? And what was the reaction? Were people fired up? Did they really enjoy that training? I mean, it seemed to have an impact, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For most of our new employees, they know anything about it, and coming in, being able to show them the different ways to medicate and all the different terpenes and the hands-on activities, that was probably the best part. It was a way not only for our staff to get comfortable with the information, but for them to get comfortable about talking about it after so many years of not being able to do that with one another. And I think that's the biggest impact that it had on our facilities and our staff members, and how they're able to translate that on to our patients.
It's teaching that retail customer experience that's bridging the gap between younger to older generations and talking to them on a scale that's a medical scale with a holistic experience. And that's what that's the first stage of education with any new state that goes legal.
Do you guys cover that as well in the boot camp? Is that whole product assembly and the variation in
Yeah,
those?
absolutely. So part of the program is different things as far as like cultivation techniques, different extraction methods. What we currently utilize is a BHO or hydrocarbon extraction and ethanol extraction. There's all sorts of other ones, CO2, that you can talk solventless, ice water. So yeah, we'll cover all sorts of things like that. A lot of things on the retail aspect, customer service, rules and regs, professional tips. And then we even talk about the transportation.
People are going to leave, I think, that day and feel really confident about going and applying for jobs.
Roughly 85 dispensaries open. That still leaves room for about 100 more in the state. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to get their foot in this industry and by coming to our course, I think they are going to leave much more prepared, know how to approach the resume and interview process and stick out amongst the potential 300 applicants that they're competing for limited space in these facilities.
Yeah.
COCO Dispensaries and the Cannabis Care Team presents Cannabis Boot Camp. Do you want to know more about endocannabinoid system, methods of medicating, cannabinoids and terpenes, and Missouri Cannabis Industry? Do you want to become a bud tender and to help patients to find the best medicine for their needs? Or maybe, do you want to know how to manage your patient privacy and comfortability, the benefits of offering patient consultation, and the importance of consuming low and slow? April Hatch, Matt Cascio, Heidi Trout, Skyler Thomas, and Janie Dennis will be there to teach you all you need to know to become a respected bud tender. Text Bud Tender to 660-202-6234 or scan this QR code to register and learn more. And join us on June 12, 2021 at 1225 Fellows Place, Columbia, Missouri 65201.
The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association has been our longest-running show sponsor, while providing quality education over many topics in partnership with area cannabis professionals. MCIA is dedicated to a free cannabis market to create supplies and prices that are patient-friendly, with initiatives to support adult-use cannabis, to protect home growers' rights, and expand the caregiving program. Go to mocia.org to learn about memberships, to learn about their certified caregiving program, and learn how to get involved. Thank you, MCIA, for being a show sponsor.